Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here. Welcome back to another video. Today, I want to go over all of my impressions for update 6.1, and then I also, unfortunately, have to comment on another bug that has surfaced with 6.1 here to go alongside the other bugs that are currently plaguing players as well. Before we get started guys, as always, if you do enjoy the content here on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future Battlefield videos. Thank you so much for the support recently. You can also, of course, follow me on X or join the Discord if you want to have a chat to me over there. And we are streaming as well 3 times a week over on Twitch TV. So by all means, if you guys want to hang out there and play a couple of rounds with me, then feel free to go and check that one out. So unfortunately, at the moment, there are several things plaguing the game. So before we even get into talking about 6.1 and my impressions of it, I do have to mention these things here because I can't even count on my hands how many times I've read a comment here on YouTube, or I've had somebody come into my stream over on Twitch and say, hey guys, is anybody getting a black screen at the end of a round? And now there is a brand new bug that is basically absolutely massacring the mouse input. Now, mouse input has always been a problem in Battlefield 2042 ever since the game released. DICE has never really managed to perfect it and fix whatever issues were underlying there. But now there is just a really egregious issue where basically what happens is your mouse sensitivity, it doesn't completely stop working, but let's say if you had your sensitivity at 100%, it sort of feels like it's down to 10%. It's pretty bad, it happens at random, and of course, this makes your ability to aim completely obsolete. Now, I don't know if this is a PC-only problem, I don't know if this is a mouse-only problem, I think it is, but the amount of players I've seen reporting this, it is not a small amount of people. Now, DICE have decided to make a statement here, so they say, we are aware of ongoing reports of mouse input issues taking place on Battlefield 2042. The team is working to investigate and address this issue. We will provide further updates when possible. Thank you for your patience. I really do hope, and I'm sure that DICE are working around the clock to solve this one. I'm also quite surprised that they haven't managed to solve the black screen issue, because many of you guys I know are having that problem. I don't actually have this myself, but I can just tell again by the amount of people that ask me about it and leave comments and whatnot that many of you are encountering black screens at the end of a round and you have no choice but to Alt F4 or manually exit the game and go back to the desktop to solve the problem there. What's even more strange is that this issue appeared first, I believe, with 6.0, but there were some people yesterday saying that they didn't have the issue then. It was only when they downloaded 6.1 yesterday that the black screen issue started to occur for them. Now, not only that, but we also seem to be continuously battling this problem with the matchmaking system, where what's happening is the servers aren't backfilling with new players that are matchmaking into the system and are therefore instead being filled up with AI players. That is still happening on the daily here, and DICE have of course acknowledged all of these problems, and I'm sure they're aware just how harmful this is for the game. Even so, I feel I should reiterate this. We've seen a massive spike in player numbers, and for sure that could be part of the problem. Maybe it's just something that DICE hasn't really encountered on this level yet. But just think about how many of those players are going to load up the game, play one round, get a black screen at the end of that round, and then do the same thing again. And you know what? After about 2 or 3 rounds of this happening, they're probably just going to go ahead and uninstall the game. And the exact same thing is now also going to happen with this mouse input issue. Many players aren't going to bother going online, looking up this YouTube video. They're not going to bother going on Twitter or on X and looking up the DICE Battlefield communication channel and seeing, okay, this is a problem. They're just going to say, why doesn't the game work? This game sucks, and I'm going to uninstall it and play another game. And if we take a look over on Reddit, and I know Reddit isn't exactly the most friendly or, let's say, highly intelligible of places, but this guy here says, DICE, we are not your QA. Seriously, I am astonished how DICE refused to test a single patch at this point. And, you know, he's going on here about the mouse input bug and the black screen bug and all the rest of it. And, you know, in some ways I do have to sympathize with him here. A lot of the time when you see this many players encountering a bug within the first day of a patch, you do sort of think, wow, how could they not have tested this? But the truth is that the amount of QA testing that the entire community can do, especially now that we have like 100,000 players or so, is just so much more than the QA testing team in-house at DICE can achieve within that same time frame. So that is why a lot of these problems that do crop up are unforeseeable for DICE. However, looking at the state that Battlefield 2042 was in when the game launched, it was clearly unfinished. We could see that by all of the features that are on the surface and that are visible to us. For example, there was no class system, there was no squad system, the vehicle mechanics were far worse than they are now, and pretty much any way that you look at the game, it was just an unfinished mess, and it's a lot better now. So you have to also assume then that all of the things that we couldn't see, such as the back end, everything that's running under the surface, was also probably shoddily done, rushed out the door, and, you know, not really in great shape either. And that could well be why DICE are now running into issues, because the foundations that were laid for the game in every sense of the word were simply not up to the task. So with that said, let's get on to some of the more positive stuff in update 6.1. So first of all, there is a brand new end of round screen. It's really, really good. I love it. It shows you and puts a lot more emphasis as well on everything around your squad, the statistics that you guys have gotten there, and also shows you how you stacked up against the other top squads in the game and how much of a lead you had on them. I really like that. So definitely some nice changes there. And that of course leads us on to kill switch. So lots of people came on the stream yesterday and they said, "Hey Ghost, what do you think of kill switch?" And my answer was always, you know, somewhere along the lines of, it's okay, it's alright, it's not the best game mode I've ever played, it's not the worst game mode I've ever played. I think, you know, it's pretty good for what it is, which is a 2-week mid-season event Halloween temporary mode. It's not going to be a staple, I don't think, in Battlefield games for the future, but it's definitely something that's a little bit different and that players can have fun with. I can also really appreciate the fact that DICE have really put their best foot forward to try to make some new objectives, right? They're not just like sort of swapping objectives around and making a slight tweak on Conquest. You know, they've actually introduced an entire new mechanic with the Geists here, so they have put quite a lot of time and effort into this game mode. There are definitely some issues with it though. Most players unfortunately don't really seem to know what to do, and this is a problem with Battlefield games in general. This doesn't only pertain to the kill switch game mode. They kind of have to learn what to do. So what you'll find is a lot of players will go and stand on the objective, whereas in reality you only need a single person to stand on the objective, and meanwhile the enemy team will take over the forge and then just rush you with a bunch of the Geists and take the objective back off of you. I also think the forge is very, very powerful in my games. Whoever controlled the forge basically won the game, and from there on out it was almost always a steamroll. I didn't really have too many back and forth games where it was particularly close. Either we were steamrolling them or they were steamrolling us. I would also say out of all of the maps that I would have personally picked for this, I would have never chosen Manifest as one of the maps. Maybe that's just me, but I just really don't like Manifest for infantry play. It's just a McKay fest, or it feels like if I'm not playing McKay, you're just doing something wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you pretty much have no choice but to play McKay on this map, and there are just so many angles you can get shot from. I don't know, that was definitely the worst map in my opinion. The rest were fine though. You know, Hourglass I thought played okay, although it was also an absolute steamroll the one time I did play on that map. The AI also seem incredibly derpy sometimes. I guess the AI is just based on the normal AI that's on the game for the regular soldiers, only the difference here is that these soldiers are carrying melee weapons instead of range weapons, although they can do other things. I have seen them throw incendiary grenades and things like that at people. I even got killed by one with an M5 launcher when I was flying around in the Pond Hawk, and as we know, the AI actually have impeccable aim, so do be careful of that. But then on the flip side, I've also seen them just sort of standing around and doing absolutely nothing. So I'll unlock a wave of Geists from the forge, take control there, and I'm running up behind the Geists, waiting for them to rush into the objective so I can sort of follow them, see where the enemies are, and then take those enemies out. I don't know, they just sometimes seem to dick around and just stand there and literally do absolutely nothing. So I feel like the AI could have maybe used a little bit more polishing there, a little bit more tuning. But yeah, like I said, it was okay. It was fine. You know, I'm probably not going to go raving about it to anybody or play too many rounds on here. I'll just unlock my cosmetics via the ribbons, and then I'll pretty much be done with it and just hop back into regular old Conquest. And for all I know, maybe that's exactly what DICE intended. So outside of trying the new kill switch mode, I also did some pretty significant testing on the helicopters. So as you guys know, The helicopters can now take damage from small arms fire. They also, it seems, take increased damage from the AP rounds or the armor piercing rounds from various weapons. And it looks like even the NTW-50 is doing more damage than it used to before. This video, however, is getting pretty long, so I'm going to save all of that testing for another video, but a lot of it was quite interesting and rather eye-opening for me. Also, the new railgun tank does have a couple of new weapons. There is a brand new secondary weapon for the driver's seat, and then there are several new weapons for the passenger seat. I've unlocked all of them. I've yet to try them out, but from my initial testing against AI, some of them seem very powerful indeed. So that is going to be another interesting video. So if you guys don't want to miss out on those two, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. By all means, guys, leave me your comments down below. Let me know what you think about Kill Switch. Also, about these bugs with the black screen and the mouse input. Have you been encountering that? Have you been absolutely fine? Let me know what's going on with you there. Special thank you to all my members and Twitch subs for the additional support. Very much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching today, and I'll see you all in the next one.